Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
It's called Parliament. It is related to the same thing. So today we have most of the topics similar in nature, but yes, they will enhance your understanding related to lawmaking, etc., and different aspects. The topics per se may not be important, but yes, the questions we expect from them. So Parliament recent session. So monsoon session, we can say that. So why let's say that one monsoon session result into again debate? You should know that once again what has happened in monsoon session, 15 bills have been passed. Passed without sending to committee. Standing committees. Now, average bill passing times, it is 30 minutes, 40 minutes it is given. You can see that even one bill is passed in 5-6 minutes. This opposition parties also does not allow. Opposition parties also do not allow parliament to function. Now, the questions are, let's say, some of the things, let's say. Whether first time it has happened, it is no, not first time. It has already happened in past. You may not have this data, but I have data 2004, 2011, 2012. Right. Why it is happening? You have to explain it, why it is happening. As of now, tussle between government and other parties. Other parties, basically because of this Pegasus plus COVID issue, snooping case. Implications, or what are implications, and what should be done? This is what you have to know. And it will always, let's say that main thing is that you know the causes, you know the consequence, and you know the solution. We say causes, consequences, and solutions. Now, why one session and debate? So, this debate, because it has happened first time that Chief Justice of India has spoken. Generally, judiciary does not speak on law-making aspect. But Chief Justice of India has spoken that bills are being passed without proper debate and discussions. and scrutiny, and hence when laws are made weak, it has serious repercussions. That is what Chief Justice of India is saying. And then one day will bring about tribunals. So government has also brought tribunals, let's say, review restructuring law. The law has been made, let's say a bill has been passed related to restructuring and rationalization of tribunals. And that matter is also sub judice in court, means Supreme Court. So the question is that this disruption, and since it has not, let's say, that been allowed, means opposition simply, let's say, it kept working on this snooping, because just say that tomorrow the session was to commence and today the report came of snooping. So therefore the government is saying that deliberately report was timed in such a way that Indian Parliament does not function, and hence it is a foreign conspiracy. This anyhow, but that point will not tell. Now let's take this substance aspect. It has not happened first time. Try to understand. So now the main debate is going on. Apart from that, consequence solution, whether government should be blamed for non-functioning of parliament, or whether opposition party should be blamed for the non-functioning of parliament. What do you think? Who can be blamed more? Government or opposition?
Opposition, sir.
Opposition. Right. Why opposition should be blamed?
Sir, on one issue regarding the Pegasus, at the cost of many issues related to the citizen were at the risk, sir.
So, why government does not want debate on that? Let's say that. What is the problem that why government does not want a debate on that? Even if files are, let's say, whatever. Why government is so rigid, there will not be debate? This, anyhow, let's come to our point. Why we should.
Sir, we can also tell that it was the adamant nature of the opposition also, sir.
Yes, certainly, but that adamant nature comes later. The first comes the refusal to debate. So when there is a refusal to debate, so then adamant nature, let's say, that comes. And that adamant nature has its own, let's say, background. It is not happening in vacuum. Right. What is this? So you should know that in past, in this time, let's say, BJP government was in power. And budget was passed without discussion because Congress has lost elections, so it worked out. In 2004, Congress came in power, UPA, and BJP worked out without discussion, budget was passed. Full circle. Now, you should know 11 and 12 mein BJP was in opposition. And do you know that a single day winter session did not function? 2 years. Single day. Session, one session, winter session. What was that issue? In 2011, the issue was 2G scam and demand for joint parliamentary committee. And BJP did not allow the winter session to function for a single day. And similarly, in 2012, Lokpal bill should be passed, the BJP did not allow the session to function. Now the same BJP is in power, and let's say it is in fact more deriding to the opposition party. Anyhow, putting aside, why the facts are being given, other facts are also given. Facts are given to see when a party is in government, how it behaves, and when a party is in opposition, so how it behaves. So this, now, before let's say that we go to UK Parliament functions over 100 days in a year. Of that, 20 days are given to opposition parties to set your agenda, debate and discuss. 20 days they are given time. Means 20 days it is their time, they will set their agenda for debate and discussion. Even if it is passed, it will not be considered as, let's say, dissent in the government and a censure of the government. But even if a resolution can be adopted on that debate and discussion. Right. So the question is that why today, let's say that it is happening. Now the question is that you should know why government is not allowing debate and discussion. ठीक है, opposition party can be blamed, but then who will be blamed when bills are not sent to standing committees? In this case, who should be blamed?
So here we can say that this is government, sir.
Right. Now, try to understand while teaching also Parliament, we try to imbibe this thing, right? Parliamentary democracy. Parliamentary democracy means supremacy of parliament, not executive. Means it is the parliament which should play the supreme role, superior role, not executive. Executive is the grand committee of parliament. Right. This. And in parliamentary democracy, parliament committees are its constituent. Committees are its constituent. You cannot separate parliament and committees. And when bills are not sent to committees, it is disrespect to parliament and parliamentary system. Right. This electoral democracy becomes a majoritarian democracy. The majority government starts becoming majoritarian because it thinks that since it is majority of people have elected, so whatever it does, it should have no opposition. And hence it has disrespect in inherent sense, it has disrespect for any debate and discussion. It does not want to have debate and discussion. So, because it thinks for what there should be debate and discussion. If government has been supported by majority of people, means it has got majority 300 plus seats. So this kind of view you have to understand. So it is why opposition party has become more whimsical. It is because of this also. Plus, politics has declined to anything like anything. There is no respect for opposition party. There is no respect for government. The language that they speak, you will find that like anything, both the government side and the opposition side. Even the prime minister, even the chief ministers, their language seems to be like ordinary people. Abusive language, deriding language. So politics has declined. So causes is that you find that need for debate and discussion. The government thinks that there is a less need for debate and discussion because it has elected majority. Second thing is that decline in quality of politics. Third is the government itself is not encouraging and respecting opposition parties that yes, there should be debate and discussion. Whatever the agenda brought by opposition party, it derides them, either in terms of conspiracy or in terms of propaganda. But opposition party, everything you cannot have conspiracy and propaganda. Right. You can see how other countries have responded on Pegasus. Even in France, a committee has been set up. The president itself, let's say himself, he constitutes a committee. Right. And then it has been accepted by the judiciary. So why, let's say, government will have a perception that if it will allow a debate, it means it accepts No, it is not in that way. It accepts that yes, it is involved, right? It is no way in that way. Anyhow, this can be considered. Plus, let's say that other such factors, you can read that what are the other factors in terms of causes. But the main factor is try to understand. You need to understand that the standards of parliamentary democracy, which says that it is the government which is responsible for non-functioning of parliament, not opposition party. When a government is in majority and leader is a national leader so popular, and then parliament does not function, it is failure of that leadership. It is not failure of opposition party. In your house, when something happened wrong, so the person who is elderly, he is blamed, not the younger one. Means government is at authoritative position. Hence, if the government, especially the Prime Minister, will have respect for the opposition party, even if they bring the silliest thing, but then in healthy way you remind that it is silliest, means government should not run away on debate on Pegasus. Rather, government should prove the opposition party that how it is so trifle, or how it is so, let's say that not having substance in its opposition, means its objection, by its quality of debate, rather than running away from debate. This, and then opposition party, they will also, so they will not be able to save their face in that situation. This, and government is much more powerful, in terms of leadership, powerful in terms of leadership. It has 300 plus seats. It can speak much better than opposition parties. So it is all about whether you want the functioning of the parliament or not. This, and please do not go into this 130, let's say its productivity was 135% and etc. Don't believe in this. Let me give you one thing. It is like first we try to not appoint judges for 1 year, 2 years, and then in one go we appoint 9 judges, and we say that in history it is first time happened in 70 years that 9 judges have been appointed in one go. But what in history also it did not happen for 1 year no judge was appointed. Right. So people are foolish. This is how they can be fooled by such facts. Similarly, they can be fooled by the fact that the parliament had 135% productivity. Right. And it is not happening first time. Let's go in 2019 and same monsoon session. In 2019, after election, same monsoon session, parliamentary committees were not constituted at all. After monsoon session, parliamentary committees were constituted. And 37 bills were passed in monsoon sessions. That I say sarcastically, कि लो हमने जो बिल पास करना था वो पास कर लिया 5 साल के लिए, बाकी आपको जो स्क्रूटनाइज करना है करते रहो. Anyhow, it is sarcastic. It is not happening. So we have to understand what parliament supremacy. And we were talking policy discourse. Parliament is the symbol of policy discourse. And if parliament itself is not functioning, forget about parliamentary democracy, and its repercussion will be serious. The way its repercussion is that we have not symmetrical states, its repercussion on governance of the country. Similarly, you can see that if parliament is not functioning, its repercussion on everything. If parliament is not functioning, so bureaucracy is going to dominate. Although you want to become part of that bureaucracy, so you'll feel happy, yes, or you may not feel, yes, what is the problem then? Right. But the question is that this is what it will happen, and those parliamentary committees, etc., means law itself will remain weak. The most important consequence is the law will be weak. Try to understand, law making process is a very complex process. आप एक आर्टिकल लिखो ना, कई बार एडिट करना पड़ेगा. आंसर नहीं, आर्टिकल. So you write one article, right? It demands multiple times editing. Law making तो इससे भी ज़्यादा rigorous होता है, इसलिए कि every section you have to see whether it is arbitrary, what does it exactly means, whether it has double meaning, whether it has vague meaning, whether it is conflicting with any other law, right? So, and government is the largest litigant. And आजकल तो every policy is getting challenges in the court. Right. So the way we were talking for a policy discourse for good policy making, similarly, the consequence for this is that we need healthy debate in parliament, for which three persons are responsible: Prime Minister, Speaker, Leader of Opposition. And that will happen, let's say that if government takes opposition parties into confidence, it is the government which will have to take them into confidence. Opposition party will not take government into confidence. And that's why responsibility more lies in the government side. It's another matter that the government can downplay and pose in the public that the opposition is more responsible for non-functioning of the parliament. And that is how people will know the popular perception. But it is not in that way. So this is what the consequence. If law is weak, implementation is weak. Bureaucratic excesses, there would be more ordinances. Ordinance rate has increased. Every 10 bills, one ordinance, 3 ordinances are being passed. Every 10 bills, one ordinance was passed. The fact is given, you can see it. Right. So that is how it will happen. And that is what, let's say that it will result into centralization and arbitrary exercise of power by executive, and it will be known more as executive democracy, not parliamentary democracy. Next time we will bring a topic related to state legislature. जब पार्लियामेंट का ये हाल होगा तो स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर का क्या हाल होगा? You need to understand this. And there will also be, already वहाँ पे executive democracy है, एक ही person दिखता है, chief minister, that's all. So you have to understand how a country is governed, how a country should be governed, right? And how effectively it should be governed. So whether executive should only govern, so what is the role of legislature? The legislature role is merely formality. वो जो रेलवे स्टेशन पे वो रखा रहता है मशीन, right? This, और आप बैग रख दो तो वो ड्रैग होके चला जाएगा. This is how it is. So legislature is like just simply formality. This. So if legislature is merely formality, तो इतना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खर्च करने की क्या जरूरत है? ये सारा बिल्डिंग, right? This you need to understand. Government need to understand more than us, basically. It is because, let's say that in long run it affects the governance quality, it affects democracy, it affects implementation. This you have to understand. If law, your answer is not simple, so what will happen? If answer or article is not simple, if law is not simple, आप बोलते हैं ना कि law has become outdated, it is complex, cumbersome, और वही फिर से हम law वही बना ही रहे हैं. The new laws are also we are making complex, cumbersome without debate and discussion. Executive alone will not be able to produce good laws. It will have to take into consideration the multi-layer system. the process of lawmaking. That is how other democracies are working. We need to learn. So many steps have been written, you can write it. But ultimate step that we were saying in that key State Reorganization Commission, ultimate step is Prime Minister and a Speaker. No doubt, leader of all opposition. But initiative should come from Prime Minister. If Prime Minister wants, Parliament will start function seriously. Because he is the leader of the country. No matter how good or bad the Prime Minister is, when he speaks, it matters most. No matter whatever, if Prime Minister approaches opposition parties, India वैसे भी big-hearted country है. Right. We are, let's say that philosophy of Hinduism that we have. So we are so, let's say, inclusive people that ki past bhul jayenge. Right. So when he approaches opposition parties, it will function effectively. Simple. This we have to understand. Means the animosity between parties has increased. Their acrimonious relation, right? The conflicts between them, the lack of respect has increased between political parties. And that is becoming more responsible for this lack of healthy debate and discussion. And opposition means opposition and position means position. The steps, that is how the three they should play role, other steps are written. You can read it, anti-defection law, criminalization of politics should be addressed, fix the number of hours, 150 days, 130 days, 15 points of Vice President last year he gave, you may have, or let's say when we give ED compilation, so we give it, so certain point of time it will come, so you can even download also 15 points of Vice President, that he has given 15 points of reforms, code of conduct for also MPs, MLAs, that can also being talked. Then metrics is good, let's say metrics is one new idea. Metrics is that ki parliamentary functioning metrics should be created. Metrics is called that ki who is attending how many meetings, how many let's say sessions, sittings, etc. about each and every MP, MLA, and that will result into encourage those who have good attendance. So that kind of things, this, and punish those who have poor attendance. So electoral reforms, metrics, let's say that, respecting the three stages of lawmaking, sending to the standing committee reforms are also mentioned. They should be restructured. And then it is said that about some other points. Yes, means as of now, only the executive has say in bringing session of parliament, but even 1/10 of the MPs, they say that the session should be brought of the parliament. That should also be brought. We can allot time like opposition party, the way it is done in UK, that can also be done. But all the, including simultaneous election, holding of election, that reforms, all said and done, let's say that. One thing, we do not need all these reforms if three persons are effective. If, because it is democracy, again it is not a small organization. क्यों incentivization should be done, वो तो civil service में होता है कि incentive should be given, tenure should be fixed. ये democracy है, they are the democratic institutions. Democratic institutions run more on conventions, healthy conventions, rather than on, let's say, this and that point. So if Prime Minister, if Speaker is appointed a person who is given authority, autonomy, and then Prime Minister is a statesman, so leader of opposition will automatically become a statesman. Right? He will be forced to become. And the three can play effective role. That is how we can say that. So you learn from this. Its effect is that since it is top, everything is, let's say that bottom of pyramid, everything is linked to, in our democracy, parliament. So its repercussion is so serious that if parliament is not accountable, functioning, it will not hold accountability of executive. and then if it is not upholding accountability of executive, तो पता ही है कि उसके बाद नेक्सस ही होगा, administration, and then let's say that ki state governments etc. Then you can write all regulatory bodies, you can write all statutory bodies or constitutional bodies, they will not also function effectively. It is not a matter of executive only, right? This, and then judiciary will have lots of burden of this. It will be, let's say, always in a position of getting entangled. So why you are creating a kind of, don't you think that we are unnecessarily creating in our country a kind of, what we can say, black hole type of, we are always, let's say, getting entangled unnecessarily. Right. On the other hand, we want to have rapid growth, fast growth. Right. So first we should try to function in such a way that there is less challenge, less complexity, less litigation, good laws, they automatically encourage faster growth. Isn't it? Many questions have been written, let's say that, if Parliament does not function effectively, then democracy loses its vibrancy. This. And there can be, let's say, shifting of rule of law by rule by law. This is what you should. In brief, I can tell. Let's take next. The last one. It is a specific topic.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.